Mm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, words are very interesting, aren't they? We talk a lot about it, the spelling and everything. And this is the thing, we do need to understand what we're saying. Yield, right? It means to give up and to gain. It literally, it's like whole, right? Everything and nothing. It's one word that means there's
Yeah.
two opposites.
Mm.
I was just thinking about that, and it's
It's
it's,
true, huh?
it's just interesting. This whole language thing. Language, everything's energy, right? But language seems to be this malleable thing that even when it's changed and we have these languages that have been manipulated and all this stuff, there still seems to be this meaning that comes through and that makes sense.
So maybe they mean both, right? Yield, yeah, one of the oldest philosophical sayings on spirituality is you got to give up everything to get everything, right? You've got to become nothing to become everything. So maybe this is more of an understanding in this word yield, which to me is growing in beautiful magic. Even as I'm doing this, discussion, this conversation with Campbell, is that so if you have to give up everything to get everything, and you have to plant to grow, like yielding fruit and yielding yourself, and bending and being flexible. I mean, who knew that this was such a powerful word? The word yield. In some ways, it's literally related directly to humility, right? Yield to oncoming traffic. Somebody's first, let them go, and then you can go. So let love lead. But again, nobody is complete in how and who they are.
Hey, ain't going back, not gonna buy into all that. Hey, ain't gonna hide, gonna let all the fears slide. Got mother nature, it's on my side. Got all.
Hello, everyone. Lorenzo here from the New Now with Campbell from Autodidactic. We have a brand new video that we're about to dive into, even at this very moment. Yield true to love. Yield, what a big word. I looked up the definition of yield and it means like 100 different things. It means to let something go first, to allow something to grow. If you yield a harvest, it's what you plant and what you get out of it. Yielding true to love. Now that's a whole mouthful of poetic potential right there. So yield true to love. Campbell, what do you think we mean by that?
Yeah, it's a good one, isn't it? Yield. I mean, yield kind of means to give something up, doesn't it? I guess that's kind of the base kind of mean, to give something up. And the question is, who are you giving it to? I guess. What are you giving up, and who are you giving it to, and why? Like, we all yield for love, right? We all do it. I mean, especially, anyone who's been in love or has kids or anything like that, we know we change what we think is right to for love, right? We do things out of love. It's a saying. So the question is, are we following the right path of love? Are we loving ourselves? Are we
Mm.
yielding? Are these decisions that we make? Are they valid? Are they to people who love us back, who are going to respect us the same, or are we maybe being manipulated? Because love is also, unfortunately, people use it, well, the false love to manipulate people. Follow me, and we see it a lot is with all these groups. It's all emotional. Do this to save the earth. Do this to save them. Be a good person. You'll save. It's all this hard stuff like follow us to the end of the earth, and then you'll all fall off. So yeah, what are you yielding? What are you giving up? Like there's sort of two parts to this. There is one is what are you giving up of yourself, to follow your heart? And is that the true course, or are you following a false heart? And who's that, with what you do, how's that changing your heart? Who's it making you become? Are you yielding the right things or the wrong things? Because yielding, to give up means we can give up bad stuff too, right? We can give up whatever's holding us back, whatever's not right. Or we could give up good stuff, right? That takes us down the right path. So we really need to make a decision of what are we giving up here to go forward? Like, because if you give up your heart and your soul, you can't really go forward.
Like it's interesting that even as I was doing this, my microphone shifted on me. Something went from one to the next, and I'm thinking that like I'm looking, and what I wasn't going to share with this, but seems to have come to me right now, is that watching the whole world for what love means to you, right? Not just what you think it is, what someone told you it is. It really goes back to what Campbell said, about understanding what love is, and that's why we've changed it from just yielding to love to yielding true to love, because then it involves an effort for you to figure out what true love is, right? I mean, things have been co-opted so much. For example, rainbow's been co-opted and glory hole's been co-opted. Gay has been like all these things, and I'm not taking anything away from anyone, but even the perversion of the sexuality of little ones, where they go love is love, right? And they're trying to tell you that pedo stuff is okay and all this other stuff is okay, and bothering children, love is and love is love, but that doesn't mean anything, right? Love is love means, so we get really love is a candy bar, or if you love yourself, you'll get this spa, or you go on this vacation, or if you love this lady, you'll buy her a diamond, like all of this other nonsense that's been passed along over the years as love. When if you yield true to love, like if you're checking with your heart, if you're checking in, like you need more than one point, in other words, to decide what your love is, right? You can't just take someone's word for it. You can't just take your habitual past for it. You can't take your emotional body's feeling for it. Like maybe you just want to get laid, right? You go, I love you so much, and that goes away the next morning. Or you're drunk, well, whatever, right? I mean, we've all had these crazy experiences where, oh, I can't believe I said I loved you last night, when really I was just, again, fill in your own reasons for why you spent the night with someone, or why you chase someone. And it might change from when you're 18 to when you're 48, right? Because everyone's motivations in life alter as they get wiser, we'll say. So the true and yield true to love is your wisdom, right? It's what you find is right for you. I mean, Cambell and I have shared some very hard videos over the last year or so, like it's all your fault, and don't be a baby, and time to grow up, and all these things. And we're just giving a bit of harsh love in that, we're really nice people, I'm going to say. Like, I've known Cambell for a few years, and what that comes down to, and even you can even tell that we're nice people, because when I call Cambell nice, he doesn't want to hear it almost, right? So like authentically humble people, when you say you're fantastic, you're great, you usually go, oh, no, please, whatever, don't, and it's not even a natural, like, oh, don't say it, tell me more. It's more like you can feel a natural growth, a natural trueness to the love of energy moving, when you're using your entire being to decide what is love and what isn't love. And also, and I'll share a story maybe in a bit, the perspective on a certain situation of what love is, like what's love for Cambell in this moment might not be what's love for me. What's love for someone listening in this moment might not be what's love to someone else who's listening. So we have to understand, and I find that it's always in flux, right? It's a flexible notion that's always changing for all of us. So there is no one truth. This is the truth and you have to follow it, and this is love and that's not love, because that's BS. Because sometimes you need a kick in the pants, sometimes you need a helping hand, sometimes you need a sandwich, and sometimes you need a metaphysical truth to hit you like a ton of shit bricks on your head before you wake up and decide what you need to do next.
Yes, I was just thinking, I mean, of course we've got so many songs with the word love in it, all these love. But I was just thinking, like, some people say I'm in love with that person, and other people, I love that person, which is interesting, isn't it? Like that there's a differentiation between being in love and loving. I've never heard a parent say I'm in love with my child, right? They just love them unconditionally. So in love, if there's in, there's kind of got to be an out, right? So this in love thing is kind of what Lorenzo was touching on, is, people will go out and they get drunk, or they get infatuated, or they get caught up in the, oh, I love you so much, I love you. And, a few days later, it's like, what are you doing in my room? Get out of here, kind of thing. Because it's this false love. So it's people wanting something outside themselves to make them feel whole. Like, it's back to the same, story, right? This love, like, I don't feel whole. Can you come and fill my holes, right? Come and love me. This is what love, literally. And we see this so often, and this is how people change themselves, right? They're not following their heart, and so they're in this love sort of state, and they change who they are. We see it all the time. Men and women give up friends for a relationship. They give up sports, hobbies. They give up, habits, whatever. And what this does is, it's someone else telling you to change, and you're thinking, okay, well, I've got this relationship. I'll just give up this part of myself to keep, the relationship because I think it's better. But as you go down the path, you'll find that you're no longer you. If you have to keep changing who you are to be in this relationship, you're no longer you. And so you're not happy. And so all this does is, is break the relationship up. All this, putting demands. You need to show me you love me. You need to do this, or else you don't love me. I'll know that you love me if you do this. That's not love. That's in love. That's doing something to get something. Love is just giving. It's just love, right? You don't want anything back. Like, again, parents don't, love their kids and then say, now you have to do something, right? It's just this unconditional thing. So this is the thing. What is your love? And are you changing your heart and who you truly are to try and get what you think is love? Because if you are, what you're after or what you're chasing is not really love, right? You're trying to be in love, which is different to being love, right? We know like that one's conditional and one's not. So yeah, I'm not sure how much sense I made there, but it's just this, we don't want to change who we are. As soon as we start changing who we are, which is our heart, really, that's who we are, then we're no longer who we are. So if we change our heart for love, we're doing it all backwards. We've got to be in love, and we've got to accept ourselves first and love ourselves first before other people, before we can accept other people loving us, which I think is a big part, right? A lot of people can't accept love, and so they get love with constraints, with rules. You must do this, you must do this, you must be this, or else you don't love me. And we see this so often. But when people are in love, they're just in love. There's no demand. You don't need to change. You're allowed to follow your heart. So yeah, are you changing your heart for love, or are you staying in your heart and being love?
It's a good point. You really hit me with a new idea of love when you mentioned that. I never considered that before. When you have children, or you have a dog, let's say, you don't say, I'm in love with you, right? It's just love. You're experiencing it. If you have a sister, you don't go, I'm in love with you. You just love your sister, or you love your parents, or maybe you love a flower, say, I'm in love with you, flower. Oh my, it's true. One's kind of a sticky, greedy, needful feeling. And the other one is more of just a flowing of your energy and what you're moving with. It's really important as well, getting back to true to love, the fact that you have to love yourself, right? So I've seen way too much these days too, where you go, you're fantastic, you're amazing, just love yourself. I love myself, right? But maybe if you're a slothful monster, or you're an angry man or woman or whatever, you can't just say, I love myself, so I deserve love. It's like there's the level of honesty that really needs to come into this, right? That's where the true comes in. That's what I find true. Maybe another definition of true is honesty. And, maybe another definition of honesty is some exploration of yourself and who you are and how you are and what you are and where you're going and why you're having the kind of experience you're having. In that you can't just say, I'm a goddess, so I deserve love. I mean, I've seen that on the internet too much, or I make a lot of money, so I deserve love. And it's their fault that, and what's wrong with my life is I don't love myself enough. So now I'll love myself more. And then but the honesty of maybe why you're having a bad experience comes in. That's where Cambell and I talked about, it's all your fault, which just means your current circumstances is your responsibility for figuring out. So it's not enough to use platitudes or affirmations. I mean, if you're not a nice person, you're greedy, you're slothful, you're selfish, all of these things that we've all been at certain times in our life, those will reflect what's going on in your experience, and they will definitely reflect the love you are experiencing, because that's a direct reflection. You can't lie to your heart, in other words, right? If you're a mean person, your heart's not going to go, you're all right. It's only your head that will lie to you, right? If you have a bad experience with someone, you'll know, right? Like I've had that experience 100 times where I'll be mean to someone, my heart will hurt. I'll go, oh, that didn't feel so good. That didn't feel like I should have done that. And you'll go like, I'm sorry, please forgive me. And then to understand yourself as to why you were that way. I mean, maybe getting back to the masks, Cambell and I have got our Freedom's Calling You courses up there. We're doing some, I'm going to little plug us. We're doing some one-on-one coaching through that. We have our new Tartarian Times Patreon page. We'll leave all the links below, but Cambell and I, before we got on today, wanted to tie all this into what we're doing next. right? I laid alone in a park all day yesterday under a tree, a blossoming plum tree here in Japan, trying to figure out what was going on, right? Like I'm going, why is this working? Why isn't that working? Why do I feel good here? Why do I feel bad there? And, my epiphany, which came to me, hirameki in Japanese, I'm learning some complicated Japanese on purpose, is that, I have to yield true to my love. And what does that mean? Different things at different moments, different times. There's no one answer, but it's allowing a growth in my experience to talk with me beyond what I know is love, to the point where even Cambell just, 10 minutes ago shared something new for me. I never thought about that. In love and loving, it's like not the same. And so suddenly I had an epiphany. I go, oh my goodness, I've been alive almost 60 years and I never thought of it that way, which is interesting because now that Cambell mentioned it, it's so obvious as one of the signposts of what real love is and what needy, greedy, maybe sexy love is.
Mm. Yeah, the whole word love, it's been so, twisted and changed, that now a lot of people think love is, possessions, right? Giving people stuff. Oh, he loves me because he gives me flowers. And of course, that's a nice gesture. If you go out and you see a nice flower and you pick it, of course, that's amazing. But if you're driving home, and you're like, oh my God, I haven't got the flowers today. Well, that's not love, right? That's in love. That's you have to do something to be worthy of love. And this is a thing that we put on ourselves a lot, right? We say, I need to be this to be loved. I need to be this to be loved. But and I was thinking, what does love really mean, right? And I think it's in its broadest sort of term, it's acceptance, right? It's acceptance without judgment. You just, yeah, you're fine as you are. I love you as you are. That you don't need to do anything or be anything, or that's how we love our pets. That's how we love a flower. That's how we love our children, right? There's no I love you, but. So it's acceptance. So if we bring that back to ourselves, are you accepting yourself, or are you putting rules on that? I'll accept myself as good once I earn 10,000 a month. I'll find the perfect partner once I'm this, once I'm that, and we hold ourselves back as not worthy of love, when really you just need to love. We've talked a lot about energy and attraction. If you're loved, then you'll attract love. That's kind of how it works. But if you're putting out love with conditions, that's also probably what you will attract, right? And like we said, as soon as you start changing who you are for perceived love, then you're no longer who you are, and you can't, you can't love someone, especially yourself, if you're pretending to be someone else. And this gets back to the masks. Who are you really? Who are you pretending to be, and why are you pretending to be someone else for love? And we see this a lot. There's a lot of lonely people out there, and the world tells them, look, it's all to do with how you look. It's all to do with the physical world. It's all to do with the outside. If you haven't got the perfect partner, well, get a better dress, go and buy a better car, get this aftershave, get this, wear this watch, do this, do that, go to this club. That's all crap. We know that's stupid and that's crap. All we really need to do is work out, why we don't love ourselves as much. And yesterday was a full moon. I actually went to a healing session, sound therapy, and there was all these big crystal bowls and stuff, and all this stuff going on. And the thing is, with energy and our aura and our biofield, whatever you want to call it, all these, that literally has blockages in it that these proper practitioners can feel blockages in your energy. And this is all to do with love. These are all to do with places where we've got somewhere and someone hasn't loved us, and we've taken it on and go, oh, I'm not good enough. And that goes in, and these things hold us back. These are the blockages. We hear blockages, right? We hear it all the time. This is literally what they are. They're energy where we're being held back because we've taken on a belief into our heart. We've taken it to heart, as we say, of what someone else has said, and we don't even know if that's true. It's probably not. There's mean people around. So this is the thing. This is a real thing. If we take on what other people expect from us, and we say, I need to be that before I can be loved, we literally are blocking ourselves, putting all these blocks in, because what we're saying is, I'm not good enough. But you are. You are good enough as you are. And you know, once you realize that, then you'll be good enough, right? It's like you can't be good enough if you don't believe you are. So this is the paradox, is it's all in the heart. And just keep in mind that everything's inside. If you need to change, you need to change what's inside. That's how we change the outside. But society will tell you, no, change the outside, and that will somehow change the inside. But we know that doesn't work, because look around, lots of lonely people.
Yep.
So yeah, you know, with your heart, I just want to say, don't change it. Understand that you're good enough, that you were born, you know, with your heart for a reason, with your perspective. You've got that for a reason, and it's valid. Just because someone else doesn't agree doesn't mean you're wrong. Just means they're not the person that you're going to love, probably. So acceptance, you know, if someone truly loves you, they accept you. So if they don't love you and they don't accept you, they start putting rules in there. So it's a very easy way to define, is this person here for me, or are they here for them? Because that's really what we're talking about here. Are they here to give energy, or are they here to suck it? In an energetic way, of course.
Remember, whoops. Yeah, of course. Depending on the song you listen to, I guess. So, and also remember, good enough doesn't matter what you do, you're good enough, right? I want to be very clear on that. It doesn't mean anything's okay, I'm good enough, right? If you are acting in an unloving fashion or an unloving way to yourself or the world around you, it doesn't mean you're good enough to get love. What I would define good enough is, it means you have the ability to become the most loving being possible. You do have all the tools you need. You're good enough to become fantastic. If you're not, you're good enough to learn to love yourself. If you're not, you're good enough to become, if you're not yet there, the type of person worthy, okay, let's say, of all this love that you would like to receive. It's not that I'm born good enough, so I'm great. And it, you know, I've seen too many self-entitled, narcissistic, poopy heads, babies that go, you know, I'm a woman, so I deserve all the love, or I'm a man making all this money, so I deserve it. I'm just good enough. And maybe you're really not. You know, maybe the experience you're having in life is showing you what you're good enough for, in that you're good enough to receive what you're experiencing in the moment when you're honest with the life that you're having, but also from that, you're good enough to change it, or you have enough power to change it to what you need it to be. I'm going to suggest to Cambell, since he's going to put this video out, that we leave this definition of yield I'm looking at here in this. And, you know, this is why we're calling this topic yield to love, because yield means so many things. It means to give up and cease resistance to furnish a return or be productive of, to give over possession, deference, defeat, surrender to, right? To give away, you know, but, you know, instead of breaking, you bend, you're flexible, you know, to acknowledge the superiority of something. Could be the superiority of love or your heart or things like that. You know, yield means a lot. To be fruitful, right? Or productive, you know, like as a yield, when you plant something, you get your yield back. So yield is actually way more magical and interesting word than I thought it would be. And that's, like, I've only mentioned 4 or 5 of the potential definitions I'm looking at here, and not to mention, you know, recompense is to kind of give back, to yield, to return in kind. You know, as a transitive verb, there's like a lot of to pay for. There's a lot of beautiful ways to look at this, other than, you know, yield to traffic that we've been taught. So if you're yielding true to love, it's not, you just can't just sit there and go, I'm enough, even though you are enough, or I deserve unconditional love, even though you do. But, you know, there's the earning point or the worthy point. So the trueness involves, you know, this is why I would love to share with you this definition of yield. You go through, there's like 10 things here, literally. And if you understand what your truth is, and you understand what your love is, and you put that together into a new picture for yourself, you might be able to gain a new kind of life, new kind of wisdom, a new kind of experience, by understanding maybe you've misinterpreted truth. Maybe you've misinterpreted love. I mean, we talk about personality. For, you know, I had 100 masks, but my personality was, I was fat when I was a little boy, right? I ate too much. I hated the world. I stuffed my mouth with all kinds of treats. So even until recently, even though, you know, I'm skinny now, I saw myself, my personality, as a fat person, you know, because I'd walk down the street and I go, oh, I'm getting fat. My wife goes, what are you talking about? Right. You know, she goes, you know, you've been fat since I've known you. Like I've been with her for 12 years now. But my personality was such that I told myself that's who I was, because maybe someone said something, or I said something when I was 8. Right. And then 50 years later, I had to yield to the truth of understanding my personality, and then admit that to myself instead of going, no, I'm not fat. Yes, I am. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. Okay, my mask is I'm not, but my personality still says I am. So you really got to dig deep into who you are. You got to yield to your own truth so that maybe you can alter that a little bit, be more flexible and figure out, it's my long story short to say, when you understand yourself and you do some of the work that Cambell and I are sharing, like our Freedom is Calling You course, your New Tartarian Times, whatever it is you want to do for yourself, all that, the hundreds of videos we both put out, but they all really come down to is you understanding yourself and not giving a trite understanding of yourself, but an honest and real and thorough understanding of who you are, why you are, and where you're going. And then from there, you can make some more intelligent choices on developing, as most of us would like to, a full accounting and a full experiencing of love in our life.
Yeah, I mean, words are very interesting, aren't they? We talk a lot about it, the spelling and everything. And this is the thing, we do need to understand what we're saying. Yield, right? It means to give up and to gain. Literally, it's like whole, right? Everything and nothing. It's one word that means there's two opposites. I was just thinking about that, and it's
true. Huh?
It's just interesting. This whole language thing. Language, everything's energy, right? But language seems to be this malleable thing that even when it's changed and we have these languages that have been manipulated and all this stuff, there still seems to be this meaning that comes through and that makes sense. And I was just thinking, how can, giving up everything mean gaining? Well, maybe that's the point of the word, right? Maybe it's both. Maybe we need to give up stuff to gain stuff. Maybe we need to give up all these false beliefs to become who we really are. We need to yield up, yield the floor, as they say, to our truth, look at ourselves, and then through that, then we'll gain the yield. So this is, and because I was thinking, people love to judge words, and we see it so much often. You can't say that word. That means this. How dare you say understanding? It must be innerstanding. How dare you say, and we're attaching, we're the ones that attach the meaning to those words, right? We're the ones that connected to our heart as this. But what is that? Is that love, or is that in love? Is that you're allowed to do what you want? I'll accept you anyway, or is that there are rules to this game? You must follow them. Of course, right? The rules. You must follow my rules. You must say this word. You can't say that word. What does any of this mean? I just see so much of this going on, and it comes back to what Lorenzo said. It's like so many, gurus and people on Facebook, YouTube are making all this content saying you're good enough, and you are. But the problem is, you need to do something. You were born perfect, sure, but that was probably 50 years ago. You've been programmed all this way. You've been through life. You've made good decisions. You've made bad decisions. You can't just sit down and go, everything I've ever done is okay and perfect. I'm amazing, right? That's not love. That's literally in love. And we see this, these people, right, are everywhere. I love myself, and I'm going to pick on the female section because that's very prevalent at the moment, is all these, feminists, right? They love themselves. They're empowered. I'm a strong, powerful woman. I can do everything myself. And they're given this as they're told this is self-love, right? These women are the loneliest people on the planet. No one wants to be around them. They cannot find a mate. They're lucky if their cat stays with them because it's fake. It's completely fake. I love myself. I'm perfect. No, you're not. If you were, you wouldn't be out there telling the world that you're perfect, right? If you're happy, you don't actually need to walk up to people and go, guess what? I'm happy. They will see. They'll go, look at that dude. Look how happy he is. Oh, how does he get so happy? I want to be happy like that. So this is the thing. Are you, pretending with your heart to be something to get false love? Are you being false to get false love? That's what it is. Are you being true and knowing that true love is out there? This is another thing with, love and partners is there's this expectation of, I want a partner and I want them next week. If they're not here by March the 13th, and they're not, you don't get, you've got to become a match for what you want, and this is why we have all these problems with relationships. You get these two people and they walk up to each other and they've just got 20 masks on. And they're like, oh, I like that mask. Oh, I really like your mask too. Oh, that's a great mask. Oh, yeah, I think it's a good mask. Then, of course, you know, a few weeks later, the masks start coming off and they're like, I'm not really sure that I like what's under that mask. Because people aren't being true to their heart, right? They're giving up who they are to try and receive what they think they want. But again, as soon as you give up yourself, your heart, your beliefs, whatever, you're no longer you. You can't be loved for you if you're not you. So this is a big thing about yielding. What are you giving up? What are you yielding about you? And how, you know, more importantly, what are the results? You know, most people watching this, we've been on this realm for, you know, 40, 50 years. We've all been through this. So what are the results? If we're acting this way, if we're changing for love and you've done, what were your results in the past? And I'm going to say they probably weren't that good if you're still looking for love, right? Which is something, you know, we tend to look outside. Oh, they're telling me, just get new clothes, just do this. Instead of looking inside and going, well, you know, can anyone love me if I don't love myself? Do I need to change something? Do I need to, you know, become something different so that I feel worthy of love, which is what it is. So yeah, don't change yourself for perceived love.
Yeah, love is, as they say, love is not a destination. It's an experience that keeps growing. Even though I love my wife a lot, and we've been together 11, 12 years, it becomes something new literally every day, every week. It's something new. I go, oh, I didn't know that was part of love. I didn't know this was part of love. I didn't know she was helping me to this. I didn't know I was helping her to that. I love Cambell, right? I'll say it right now because he's helping me to places I've never been before. Right? Even today, like we're talking and I'm going, oh my goodness, that's a good idea. So love it shines each other, let's say, and you know how I can love more people. For myself, I've seen it's because I see where I've been wrong, where I haven't been loved enough, where I haven't been experienced enough, where I haven't been open enough to change. I've literally on a daily basis have had to see where I was wrong. Right? That's that, you know, this thing that Cambell talked about, like the feminists or the masculine, they're going, they're never admitting they're wrong. It's like, I'm great because I'm this, I'm great because I'm this, and I deserve, and this should be this. But you know, how are you wrong? I mean, sure, maybe earning money makes you feel good. Maybe, you know, being self-empowered is great. Why not? But then maybe you've given up your femininity, right? Maybe you've given up your desire to have a family if that's what you want. Maybe you have to be, like, I have to be submissive sometimes to the right energies that come my way. And submissive just means something knows more than you, right? Something has a direction you don't have. There's nothing wrong with being submissive in the right circumstances. There's nothing wrong with being, you know, the leader in the right circumstances, depending. You know, there are some instances where you have more than the next person, or there's some instances where you have less than the next person. That's life. I've never met anyone yet that has all the answers. I've never met anyone yet that's always wrong. I've never met anyone yet that's always right. Not even close. Right? Supposedly that spirit or God or Buddha or the great, you know, the great Wahoo in the sky, whatever you want to call it, the great Kahuna in the sky, doesn't matter. I mean, if you're here, you know, to experience this, in some ways, I love what Cambell said about the words, because I almost want to throw all the word videos I've done in the garbage now, because it's true. Whole, maybe you have to fill your holes to become whole. So maybe they mean both, right? Yield. Yeah, one of the oldest philosophical sayings on spirituality is you got to give up everything to get everything, right? You've got to become nothing to become everything. So maybe this is more of an understanding in this word yield, which to me is growing in beautiful magic, even as I'm doing this, you know, discussion, this conversation with Cambell, is that, so if you have to give up everything to get everything, and you have to plant to grow, like yielding fruit and yielding yourself and, you know, bending and being flexible. I mean, who knew that this was such a powerful word, the word yield? In some ways, it's literally related directly to humility, right? Yield to oncoming traffic. Somebody's first, let them go, and then you can go. You know, so let love lead. But again, nobody is complete in how and who they are. You know, if you are happy, like I said, then it's great. You can stop. You can enjoy your life. You can share what you want. But if you're looking for a partner, or you're looking for more money, or you're looking for more health, or you're looking for something, you know, if you feel something's missing, obviously the mistake or the responsibility lays at your feet, because it's your life, right? And, you know, we've talked about blame and shame and guilt many times, and those just don't help. We're not being the kind of people that say you shouldn't blame anyone, you shouldn't feel guilt, and you shouldn't blame. It's not about a perspective that there shoulds or shouldn't. It's more like those don't help you get to where you want to go. And if you want to go somewhere and something's not helping, you should stop doing what's not helping. So it's more of a practical suggestion on yielding to your own wisdom by seeing what hasn't worked for you, so that you can see, you know, what works. And maybe that's how you're perfect, but you can be perfectly right in understanding you've been perfectly wrong as well.
Words, I'm just getting this picture of a toroid, right? What's inside is what's outside. That's what words are. They're both sides of the toroid. But yield, you know, I've talked a lot about, you know, what, you know, don't give up stuff, you know, don't yield, you know, for false love and all this, but also what we need to yield, you know, just like Lorenzo said. If you're coming down to a freeway or something and there's a big truck coming and you don't yield, and like, I better stop, you're going to get smacked, you know. So we're not saying don't ever change your mind. You know, you need to come from your heart. So a lot of the time, especially in relationships, you have to yield, you know, and that doesn't mean, oh, they said something, so I'm just going to do this. It means you need to think it through, talk it through if you need to, and work out, okay, I need to change that. Okay, that's not a good habit. Okay, that is something I do, but it's really affecting the relationship. It doesn't matter if I give it up to me, but it matters to her or him, so I need to change that. So that's the other thing. What do you need to give up to be love? Are you selfish? Are you too demanding? Do you put too many restrictions on people, you know, to be worthy of do people have to be worthy of your love? You know, because if people have to be worthy, you're going to be looking at a pretty short line of people, you know, and these are the people who complain the most. You know, my man has, and we hear, I mean, it's everywhere at the moment, you know, online. It's driving me crazy. All these young women, right, who have been brought up and you know, programmed, and they're like, my man must be 6'2" and he must have a sports car. He must earn $200,000 a month. He must be this, and this, or I'm not even going to talk to him. And then, you know, they ask the women, oh, okay, and what do you do? Oh, well, I work at McDonald's and I've got 3 kids to 3 guys. Oh, okay. You know, so
Okay.
It's such a common story. So clearly these, you know, this is just an example, but these, if, you know, women in that position, they need to look at themselves and they need to start giving, you know, yielding that, okay, I need to change myself. There's things I need to yield or give up if I'm, you know, going to find what I want, you know, and the expectation, all that does is, like I said, it gives you a very short line of people to look at, because I don't know about you, but I don't like having expectations put on me. If I go out on a date and someone's like, oh, well, you must earn this much money and you must be this tall and you must do this and you must have this, I'm like, bye, and I'm out the door. I've got no interest at all in being near a person like that, and none of us do. No. So this is a question: is that you? Is that a part of you? Is that a little bit you? You know, this is the thing. We need, you know, and getting back to, we say this a lot, this is all self-responsibility. You know, we need to know ourselves, and we need to drop the masks enough to be able to ask these questions. How do I need to change? What am I doing wrong? Why am I, you know, if we bring it back to, you know, partners and relationships, why am I single? Like, if you're single, then there's something going on. And we see all these single people complaining, it's the outside world, it's the outside world. But it doesn't change their situation. It might feel good in the moment, but then they have to go home and sit on the couch with the cat and be alone. So, you know, this is the thing. Are we really looking at life properly? Are we really looking through our heart? You know, am I giving love and being, you know, non-judgmental? And what am I expecting? Am I being that as far as receiving it as well? You know, am I being true to myself that, you know, I can be a bitch or I can be an asshole and I need to give up certain things to get rid of that trait to be love?
I find myself when I face my death. People woke up and there ain't no sorrow. Ain't no more gonna tell you that. Only reason I don't wanna give it up. Came down from the heavens above and told all the people going this is it now. Got this trust in a life, do we make a difference? What the fuck you gonna do? Stand up and know your part too hard. Open up and a piece of come now. This is it, is this what we've been waiting for? Warrior dream again, your destiny. Uphold the will, not compromise. Hey, nay, nay. Freedom, 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 yeah. Freedom, freedom, freedom is calling us. Freedom, 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 yeah. Freedom, freedom, freedom is calling us. Stepping it up, taking a chance. risking it all, we're going crazy, stepping it up, taking a chance, risking it all, taking a higher, baby, stepping it up, taking a chance, risking it all, we're going crazy, stepping it up, taking a chance, risking it all, taking a higher, baby. Losing all control, no fear. The trumpets are blowing, charge of bell is here. Love is all gonna set us free. Are you ready to fulfill your destiny? All rise from the depths within a revolution. People, come on, this is it now. Got this love in our heart through righteous feeling. What the fuck you gonna do? Stand up and know your part too hard. Open up and a piece of come now. This is it. Is this what we've been waiting for? Warrior, dream again. Your destiny. Uphold the will, not compromise. Nay, nay, nay. Freedom, 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 yeah. Freedom, freedom, freedom is calling us. Freedom, 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 yeah. Freedom, freedom, freedom is calling us. Stepping it up, taking a chance, risking it all, we're going crazy. Stepping it up, taking a chance, risking it all, taking it higher, baby. Stepping it up, taking a chance, risking it all, we're going crazy. Stepping it up, taking a chance, risking it all, taking it higher, baby. Freedom, 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 yeah. Freedom, freedom, freedom is calling us. Freedom, 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 yeah. Freedom, freedom, freedom is calling us. Freedom, 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 yeah. Freedom, freedom, freedom is calling us. Freedom, 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 yeah. Freedom, freedom, freedom is calling us. Freedom, 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 yeah. Freedom, freedom, freedom is calling us. Freedom, 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 yeah. Freedom, freedom, freedom is calling us.
Maybe you have to fill your holes to become whole.